Well, good morning, my workplace warriors. Welcome to another Friday morning live. Um, I actually was on time this morning, but I did something in my YouTube settings that I had made me have to log back out and come back in. So you should be proud of me this morning. I got on here on time. I hope everybody's week has been um, going well and that you are ready for our discussion this morning. Today, we're going to talk about emotional health, our emotional health. And I'm not going to waste any time getting into it because this is a very important subject. And I hope that it is something that you find very engaging and interesting. And I hope you can take away something from today's session that will help you. Excuse me, my voice is doing what it wants to do. That will help you to protect your emotional well being. And our emotional well being is very important to our professional and personal success and peace. And I'm going to offer you some things that I think will be very, very helpful. So, as usual, to support this discussion, I found a recent MSN article that really caught my attention. And as I read through it, I really liked what it had to say. So I'm going to utilize it to help us through our discussion and give you a lot of content. So, first of all, let me tell you how the article on MSN describes or defines emotional health um, or emotional stability. And the article says that emotional stability is a direct contributor to happiness and living a good life. And without it, you risk falling into a pattern of jealousy, stress, heartache, and or depression. And but the great thing is that we, each one of us, make a choice. We make a choice each day as to whether or not we're going to be emotionally stable or healthy. And so I want you, as the article suggests, to choose actions that and thoughts that contribute to directly to your sense of calmness and serenity, and that you'll develop habits and that bring harmony into your life and your interactions with everything and everyone throughout each day that you live. So let's look at how we can become more emotionally stable. And even though they didn't have this one, they didn't have one listed that I'm going to share with you. I'm going to save my very personal recommendation until the end. So we're going to go through the ones that the article shared and see how we can incorporate each one of these actions into our life. So, first of all, you need to learn how to say no. And I know that a lot of us were raised by our families and what have you to always be available to others we are when they need us. And we were all created to serve each other, to be of service to others. That's one of God's great callings to us who are believers is to serve others. But that does not mean that you have to be a yes person. You need to balance saying yes with also saying no. And I know years ago, I can't remember my exact age, but I was well into my adulthood. And I remembered my mom and I having a conversation. And she told me, she said, your heart is in the right place, but sometimes you take on too much. And so that stuck with me. Now, I didn't stop taking on too much sometimes. Even my manager has told at work has told me sometimes you take on too much and you don't like to ask for help. And so I try to um, change my actions in a way that I'm limiting, not to, I'm being more aware, not taking on more than I can handle, because then that increases my stress level and my anxiety level, and I realize that that is not healthy. And and I've also learned to ask for help. And funny thing that happened at work one day, our executive leader, I'm a human resources professional, associate director of human resources with my current employer, and she asked me to do something, and I forgot how the conversation continued. I think she checked with me to see where I was on, the status on whatever she asked me to do. And so I told her, I think I told her I haven't gotten to it yet, but I am about to. And, and she said to me, Cynthia, just because I ask you for something doesn't mean that you have to be the one to do it. You have a team who reports to you. So you can ask one of them to do it. I just come to you as the manager because you have a good idea as to what your team members are working on. And so you probably can pick the best person who may have a little bit of bandwidth in their schedule to work with, to work on what I've asked for. And so that has stuck with me too. And I encourage you to keep that in mind as you go throughout not only your work day, but your personal day as well, because family can tend to pile things on you. They'll tell you in one sentence that you take on too much, um, or you're going to wear yourself out. But then sometimes they're some of the main contributors to that. So you have a responsibility to yourself and your personal well-being, emotional well-being, to make sure you control that and know when it is time emotionally for you to say no. And sometimes it may not be a flat out no, it could be a not now. So keep that in mind. Next is, don't feel bad about saying no, because sometimes when you tell people no, they are good at making you feel guilty, because you have said no, because you have not done what they want you to do. So don't feel bad about saying no. Just make sure you say it in a respectful manner, be compassionate, and know that if you say no, that you mean no, and that you may be able to help them, later, or do what they ask you to do later. But don't be made feel guilty about having to say no sometimes, because it actually could increase your productivity, not only in your personal life, but also in your professional life as well. Then embrace your flaws. In today's world of social media, we have this augmented reality that we're being fed about how we should look, how we should feel, and how things that we should have. And yes, it's nice to have things, and it's nice to look pretty and are handsome and feel good about yourself, but understand that there is no one who is perfect. And so all of these airbrushed pictures and what have you that you're seeing on social media, it can cause some emotional instability, because we may start to compare ourselves to those images that we're seeing. But we need to make sure that we always remember that God made us in His perfect image, and so that means that we are perfect in His eyes. But we do have something, things. Everybody has something about their looks or about their body that they may feel uncomfortable with or wish they could change. One of my struggles, most of my adult life has been my weight. And even though I'm still working towards dropping some weight and living a healthier lifestyle because I want to be around for years to come. And I know it's important to try and get to a healthier weight. I no longer beat myself up about my weight. What I do is find my features that I can accentuate and also appreciate the blessing of waking up another day and appreciate the blessing of being me while I'm also continuing to work on improving me and making myself a better me. But don't compare yourself to others and feel bad about yourself, because you are beautiful in God's eyes, and as long as you are here, He has a purpose for you, um, just the way you are, and as you continue to grow and evolve. Next, emotionally stable people know the power of listening, and that is so important, especially in relationships. And it can be a romantic relationship, a friendship, it can be a coworker, a work relationship, or what have you. Make sure that you incorporate listening into your or active listening into your interactions with others, because, and I apologize, I keep feeling like I have, like my nose is itching or like I have a little piece of hair on my lips, so I apologize about that. But make sure to incorporate listening into your interaction with others, because sometimes people just need a listening ear or a shoulder. And you don't want to make people feel like you're being dismissive or not interested in what they have to say, because we all go through times when we just need someone to listen to what we have to say. And it makes you more emotionally stable, because then you can be more of a resource to that person who is coming to you and needing that listening ear or what have you. And you can serve them even better, and by getting a greater understanding of what their needs are. So next is, be selective with your inner circle, who you let into your inner circle. We are not an island, and we all need friends that we can trust and confide in. But just be very selective and try to read a person's character um, before you let them into your inner circle. And I can tell you that personally, I recently made the decision to end a, I don't even know if I should call it a friendship, because I realized in the end that it really wasn't a friendship. I was trying to be a friend, but the other person was being a bit manipulative. And I noticed that if they asked me to do something and I did not do it, because I don't have a problem with setting boundaries um, in a respectful and calm and loving way. Um, if I didn't do what they wanted me to do when they wanted me to do it, I wouldn't hear from them for a long time, and long spans of time. And then when I would speak to them later, they typically, when I started realizing this behavior, I wouldn't call them if they didn't stop calling me because I told them no about something. And one thing that they wanted me to do was to fill out a form that would have falsified it. It could have jeopardized my employment. And I explained to them why I was not going to complete the form. And I know they got mad at me. They did not tell me that they were upset, but they went on another one of their long spans of me not hearing from them. And so I guess after they get over being upset with me, then all of a sudden I'll receive a call out of the blue where they're calling saying that they're calling to check on me. Now, typically they just want something else. And so when I realized that, started noticing that pattern of behavior, I decided that it may be time, after about 12 years, 12, 13 years of having this person in my life that maybe I just quietly need to just separate, kind of distance myself from them. So that's what I've done. And don't feel bad about separating yourself and distancing yourself from a person that you realize may be, trying to manipulate you for their own gain, but then they're not often there for you when you need someone. And it's not about being selfish. It's about just realizing that relationships, whether they're friendships, work relationships, romantic relationships, they all are give and take. So there shouldn't constantly be a situation where you're doing the overwhelming majority of the giving, and you're very seldom getting anything, and not necessarily in return for what you've given to them, but just the fact that it's a balanced a balanced relationship. Okay. And emotionally stable people refuse to conform. And I'm going to read a little bit of the article, how they address this issue. Um, so, emotionally stable people don't buy into something they don't believe in. You won't find them jumping on the bandwagon of every new trend. They simply don't care if they fit in with the crowd. And they're comfortable in their own skin. And I guess this really resonated with me because I've always been a person who does not does not conform or follow the crowd usually. Um, for instance, I've always only drank alcohol socially. Um, I got drunk one time in my early to mid 20s. That was enough for me. And I wasn't even trying to follow anyone at that time. I just was drinking with a friend and ended up getting drunk, felt like crap the next day. And I did not want that feeling of a hangover anymore. And from that point on, typically, if I do drink, my limit is going to be two, whether it's a personal setting or whether it's a workplace or social setting or what have you. My limit is typically going to be two drinks. Other thing is, everybody, if I have decided that I'm not going to drink that particular day, drink any alcohol at that particular event or what have you, I don't let the fact that everybody else is drinking alcohol um, impact my decision not to drink. They can drink what they want to drink, and I may nurse a Sprite or a Coke the whole night, and that's just me. I'm very comfortable in being my own person, making up my own mind. I don't need other people to make up my mind about what actions I'm going to take or to tell me, what to do. And I don't say that in arrogance, but I think that that is something that has protected my emotional health and stability for a long time because I just don't follow the crowd, and I don't need someone else's permission, if you will, to do something or not to do it. What I do is I allow my spiritual upbringing and spiritual values to inform me on whether I should or should not do something or when I should not do it. Sometimes it's a matter of not being the right time for you to do something. So that's how I manage my life. Next, the article recommends that we ask for help. And I shared with you earlier that one of the things that was brought to my attention, even at work, is that I don't like to ask for help. And I'm slowly getting out of that at the age of 57, and I guess maybe getting a little bit older and realizing that I can't do all of the things at this age that I used to do in my 20s and 30s. Reality sets in, and I've realized that okay, maybe I do need to ask for help. And I found that a lot of people are willing to help when I do ask, because for one, I try to cultivate healthy relationships with others, and so they know that I'm willing to help them in any way that I am able to within reason. And so typically when I go to someone who I know and ask them for help, they usually don't hesitate, or they'll let me know because they're typically this of a similar type of personality. They'll let me know if they can't do it right then, but that they can help me later, or they may not be able to help me in the exact manner that I ask them to, but they may be able to help me in another way. And I think that that is just part of the beauty of give and take when we're interacting with each other. So don't forget to ask for help. We all need help at some point in our lives. Next, they support others, emotionally stable people. They love to cheer on others. And that means that we support others' successes and wins, and we celebrate with them, and we don't get jealous when they're doing something that we admire or we thought that we should be doing. We share in their victories and celebrate, and then we take our own path to achieving the goals that we have set for ourselves as well. So I'll always be willing and able to cheer others on as as they accomplish their goals as well, because there's enough room in this world for all of us to be very successful and to achieve our goals. And a lot of us will get a whole lot further if we learn how to celebrate others, partner with them, and celebrate them, and to be happy for each other. And just know that when you are emotionally stable, you can think more clearly. So I don't want us to overlook that too, because that's a part of emotional stability, being able to think clearly. And before I go into closing out today's session, I also want to share with you one of my emotional stability hacks, if you will, that I apply to my life. I set boundaries. And it's very important because no one knows your schedule and your responsibilities like you. And for instance, I have a very high demand job as associate director of human resources, and one thing that I have to do that's a major part of my job each day is listening to other people's concerns, complaints, problems, and challenges every day, and helping to identify solutions, coaching employees, coaching managers, supporting managers through the process of addressing inappropriate employee behavior. And that can be emotionally draining within itself, because HR representatives, especially those of us who practice in the functional area of employee relations, we wear a lot of different hats. And there's a high expectation, from those who we serve, that we will be able to come up with a solution. So sometimes we do that to the detriment of ourselves, and we don't properly recover from all of that sort of emotionally draining activity, because I love people. I love helping people. I love helping them to identify solutions to the challenges that they face. But at the end of the workday, I am exhausted. So I try to make sure that I get my proper sleep. I don't engage in a whole lot of after work social interactions unless it's on a Friday, or if it's on one of the days that I work remotely, because I know that my day is a little bit less stressful on the days that I work remotely, because I don't have to, for one, get up as early to leave home and deal with the traffic, and because Atlanta traffic can be horrendous, or I'm not having to worry about packing my lunch to go because I take my lunch most days to work. So I have a little bit more emotional real estate, if you will, to be able to be a little bit more interactive on those days that I work remotely, or if it's particularly like a Friday or something like that. So just remember, you have the right to set boundaries and set healthy boundaries where you're still being a resource, being of service to others, but you're also being of service to yourself by making sure that you are emotionally well. So I am going to close out this session by reading some of the conclusion from the article that I got these tips from, most of these emotional stability hacks from. And it just reminds us that improving your emotional health will help you to get more out of life, because when you start implementing habits that support your emotional stability, your anxiety will decrease, your productivity will increase, and you will feel more fulfilled in your life. And it goes on to say changing your emotions is a skill that takes practice, but remember, it is possible. I just gave you 9 steps to protecting and improving your emotional health and stability. 8 of them were from the article, and the last one, setting boundaries, was directly from me. You can improve your emotional stability, but you have to be dedicated to making a positive change in your life. Implement the habits that I shared with you today, and get in touch with the strong person you are and were meant to be. So I hope that you've gotten great value from the content that I've shared with you today. Once again, happy Friday. And remember that I am on a mission to help you live your best career life. And I believe that emotional stability is a very important part of that. So that's why we shared this content with you today. And I just ask you that when you're watching this, please smash that like button so that you can let the algorithm know to push this information, this very valuable content, out to others who may also be on the journey to living their very best career life, or their very best life in any manner. And also, if you would share it with other people who you know are on the journey to living their best career life, I would greatly appreciate that. And for those of you who have not yet subscribed to my channel, I invite you to definitely do so. I would love for you to become an HR by Nnamtique VIP and just enjoy being a part of this community, and to and to be notified each time I drop a new video or post a new live. If you want to work with me more closely, I have a number of ways that you can do so, and those are included in the bio or description below. Or if you're watching someplace else, I will have it wherever the description is on any respective platform that this video that I share this the video replay of this live on. And as always, I wish you career success, an awesome weekend, and I look forward to your coming by and joining me for future videos, or next Friday's Friday Morning Live, where we will dissect another great topic that can help us be the very best that we can be. Bye bye.